In this short video, we're going to be talking about one of the assessment sheets where the person didn't satisfy the criteria in the beginning stages of the driving test, and as a result she failed without going through the entire assessment. So this particular case was where the person was prepared, but she was extremely nervous. In the night before the test, she didn't have a good night's sleep and had a long screen time. I'll be talking about blue light emission, from her phones and any other devices that can impact your sleep. And you may be able to fall asleep, but you're not going to reach the proper deep sort of cycles of your sleep where you basically recover the most. Interestingly, she drove really well a couple of days before when she did a mock test, and she would have scored every single point. But see, on the day of a test, she basically hardly scored any. She scored only 1 out of, I'd say about 15, 20 points that she had prior to the test being terminated by the assessor. So basically, when somebody loses that many points, the assessor will terminate the test. One of the remarks here, candidate exceeded the speed limit by more than 5 kilometers per hour, and the candidate required assistance, intervention to avoid a potentially dangerous situation. So this is really important aspect. So if you can drive, it doesn't mean that you are going to pass your driving assessment until you are well prepared both physically and mentally to take a driving assessment. See, the second time, which she said she didn't remember, she exceeded the speed more than 10 kilometers per hour. So that would have been a 50 zone in one of the residential streets down in Cannington. And also shortly after that, she had a late lane change, and the assessor had to intervene. Late lane change, intervene by 2312, which is the number, the ID number of the assessor down at Cannington. So, as you can see, looking, signalling, flow, movement, path, responsiveness is always, left blank unless there's been any sort of out of ordinary scenarios, such as, if a kid jumps in front of you chasing a ball or similar type of scenarios. And vehicle management, she did score, which really shows that, she was prepared, she could drive. And this was with an automatic, by the way. So she could drive, but obviously couldn't really access those, mental and emotional faculties at that particular point in time when she went out for the assessment with the assessor. So, very important that you are prepared, that you had a good night's sleep, particularly if you're doing your driving test in the early morning hours. Some of the other remarks that the assessor made: 2 times look error while reversing, not enough checks all around, reversing when parking. So, basically she didn't look around as much as we advise people to do, so it's not only the rear view mirror that will cover all the angles. We really need to check the rear view mirror and the side mirrors and behind, and also when you're under the 45-degree angle, if you're reverse parking, you've got to check if there's oncoming traffic from your right hand side or your left, whichever way you're reversing. So that was one of the issues. Signaling, signal error when moving, fails to reapply signal when turning. So basically she was turning and she may have oversteered and then corrected it, which would have switched the indicator off, and then obviously she was still in the process of turning, so she was expected to reapply the indicator. Flow, fails to start maneuver promptly, late lane change at traffic lights, assessor comment, intervened by 2312, again the ID number of the assessor down at Cannington. You shouldn't change lanes if you're too close to the traffic lights. So you've got to make sure that you don't change in the region where there's unbroken white line dividing the lanes, usually going about 20-25 meters before the actual intersection at the traffic lights. Again, speeds over 6 kilometer general driving, assessor commented, prompt by 2313, fails to track accurately, swings wide, turning left or right. So, you've got to really, watch your path. And the last one to do with path was fails to track accurately, poor entry, reverse driveway park. So, you know, it's really important that you're aware of the position of the car at any point in time and that you stay aware throughout the maneuvers. And if correction is necessary, that's not a big problem, but obviously if throughout the maneuver you know, mismanage your path, it could be a big problem. So even if you're well prepared to do your driving assessment, just make sure that you're in the right mind frame to do that particular assessment. So if you know that you're going to have a lot of things on, you know, in that particular period of time, it's best to book your driving assessment when there's not much to do, when you can sort of rest well and, you know, take a day off if you can, and just go and do your driving assessment and get the best results you can possibly have. So, you know, it is really important that you plan well in advance, and if you believe that it's going to be difficult to carry out everything, it's best to postpone and you know, do it at the time or day that suits you a lot better. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.